Hello ESU scholars. Here is your first pre-lab. We're going to do a density lab, and so you need to watch this video and take the quiz to complete part of your pre-lab assignment. It's a very simple lab that we're going to be doing in class. I've got a couple things in front of me here. You can see I have two sets of 20 pennies and stacks of 5. These are from 1984 and after. These are from 1982 and before. I have a triple beam balance here that I'm going to use to get the mass. And I have a graduated cylinder. I just took it and took some tap water, and as I read the bottom of the meniscus, I have about 21 milliliters of tap water in it. What I'm going to do here is, and what you're going to do in class, is measure the density of the pennies from these different time periods. As we talked about with density, obviously density is a unique characteristic to each substance in the world. It discusses essentially the atoms that are in that substance and the volume they take up, but each different form of matter has its own unique density. So our theory here, or our hypothesis basically, is we're going to see if they have changed these pennies at all in any time periods. They both look the same. They both are brown color. They both have Abe Lincoln. They both have the same words and a date stamped, and the front and the back look the same. The question is, are they the same? And so the first thing we're going to do is get the mass, and it doesn't matter what year group I work with. I'll start with the pre-1983 pennies. I have my triple beam balance all scaled out. I'm just going to put 5 pennies on there, and I am going to get an accurate measurement of what the mass of 5 pennies is. And we are close here, and that is roughly 15.12, yeah, I'll say 15.12 grams. I'm going to put another 5. Okay. And I'm going to test it again. And that gets me to 30.45. Put on another 5. I'm looking to see, I don't have to wait till the line actually lines up. If it's kind of, now it has, but if it's kind of moving in the same range. We're at 45.79. And then one more time, I'll put on the final 5, and that's set. So out of each set of years, I'm doing 20 pennies, but 5 at a time. Good. And that's at 60.90. So now I have all the mass. I have the mass, and I can just take all that data and record it on my data table. Now, same thing. I'm going to take these pennies 5 at a time, and I'm going to check their volume. And I do that by something called water displacement, which is using my graduated cylinder here. And again, as I told you, I just took it to the tap, and I just put in some water. It doesn't really matter where it lands. What matters is I know where it starts. It's at 21 milliliters. So all I do is I take 5 pennies. In they go, careful of the splash. I now read the meniscus again. It's now at 23 milliliters. And I could record that down. 5 more. I'm at 20. I'm going to call that 24.8. 5 more. I'm at 26. And the final 5. And I'm at 28 milliliters. And of course, all that will be recorded in my data table. Now, I'm going to dump these out. I'm going to pour off some of the water first. I'm just pouring it down the sink carefully. I'm going to dump these pennies on the paper towel, and I'm going to start drying them. Okay. Then I'll go fill this with some tap water again to a certain point, and I'm going to do the same thing with my other set of pennies from 1984 and after. I'll first do the mass while they're dry. I'll then do 5 at a time, getting the volumes. And so I should have 2 data tables set up, one for after 84, one for before 82. And then I'll record all those measurements. After the lab is all completed, I can then start calculating the densities, and we'll talk about that in class. But first, before I do that, one set of data, or one group set of data, is never enough in chemistry or any scientific lab experiment. You need multiple sets of data to improve your accuracy. So part of the reason I'm trying to dry these so well is once I've done my first set with my group that I sit with my table mates, I am then going to dry off all these pennies. I'm going to take both my sets. I'm going to go to another group, and I'm going to trade. And then I'm going to do that second set. And then I'm going to clean those and dry those all off, and then I'm going to go trade again. So you have to do the same thing for each set of years with 3 different sets of pennies. So as you're doing so, you can get them done. It shouldn't take very long. And then you may go and trade twice with 2 other groups and get some new pennies. Your requirements now are to finish the quiz on Sophia and any write-ups you were told to do in class. If you have not watched this video and taken the quiz, you will not be able to do the lab. And you will have to do it on your own as a makeup lab before school starting any day. You would have to coordinate that with me, but you would have to start by at least 6:45 in the morning to get the lab complete. Thank you, and scholar up.